This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, after nearly 6 months, the Dunedin City Council says East Otago's tap water is now safe to drink. 2 Dunedin siblings have coordinated a fundraising concert for autism awareness in support of a specific type of therapy. And the North Dunedin Eating Institution is closing its doors at the end of the week as its creator couldn't find a buyer for the boutique bakery. Kia ora kōrua, good evening, I'm Daryl Baser. The Dunedin City Council has lifted the Do Not Drink notice for water supplies to communities north of the city. The notice has been in place since February following elevated lead level readings detected in the community's drinking water. Water fit for drinking is once again flowing in Waikouaiti, Karatane and Hawkesbury Village. Announcing the lifting of restrictions this morning, Dunedin Mayor Aaron Hawkins says council water staff carried out about 2,000 tests over the past 5 months.
We've completed extensive investigations, including more than 2,000 water tests that show there is no detectable lead in the drinking water network after we found intermittent elevated lead readings in water samples.
The council's decision to lift the notice was made in conjunction with Public Health South and means both parties are now satisfied the water is safe to drink. But there are conditions.
Each time anyone anywhere in New Zealand uses their taps for water, for drinking or cooking or brushing your teeth, just flush 500 mils out first down the tap, down the drain, before you take your water that you'll use.
That said, Public Health South recommends people do not drink the water at the Waikouaiti Golf Course or Karatane School. Dunedin City Council 3 Waters Group Manager Tom Dyer says people or facilities with longer pipes may have to flush for longer periods.
Properties are typically of a non-domestic nature that might have larger pipe work or a long length of pipe work from the road. All we're seeking with that flushing is that you move enough water through your pipe work to receive water from the network, from our mains network.
The council says the investigation looked at all possibilities, including whether lead came from old landfills, fly tips or the nearby Macraes mine. Mayor Hawkins says the welfare of all residents has been the DCC's top priority throughout the investigation into the elevated lead readings. He says a review into how the council handled this will now start. In Dunedin, The South Today. A Netflix movie filmed across Otago is amongst the frontrunners to claim the Venice Film Festival's top prize this year. Starring Kirsten Dunst and Benedict Cumberbatch, the film The Power of the Dog was directed by New Zealander Jane Campion. The period drama includes scenes filmed in Oamaru's Victorian precinct as well as Dunedin's railway station. Campion is being described as one of the world's foremost art house directors, having been the first female director to win the top prize at Cannes for her film The Piano. The Power of the Dog is one of several shot in the district, which has led to calls to create a film studio in Dunedin. Dunedin siblings Sophie and Alexander Sun have organised a fundraising concert featuring a host of southern classical musicians. Called Connections, next week's event is going to raise funds for the Otago Children's Autism Support Group. When they're not playing music, Sophie and Alexandra's son have spent the better part of 2 months coordinating a star-studded classical music concert.
So we are organising an autism fundraising concert which will involve several members of the DSO as well as other really well-known adult musicians and award-winning young musicians.
All funds would go towards Autism NZ and the Otago's Children's Autism Support Group.
The lineup includes Helene du Plessis, Tom McGrath and many more. The issue of autism is one which is close to the Dunedin siblings' hearts, as their younger brother Benjamin has been diagnosed with it. and like many others living with autism, is responding well to applied behaviour analysis or ABA therapy. But Sophie Sun says this can be a problem.
And that private therapy is not funded through New Zealand, and it's quite expensive, and that is basically what the Otago Children's Autism Support Group is funding towards.
Benjamin Sun is in Year 8 at Balmacewen School and due to move to high school next year. They say living with a sibling who has autism is a journey, much like living with musicians.
Autism, I think people sort of think of it as one certain stereotype, but I think autistic kids can be so different.
The concert was originally planned for last year, but like so many other events, was delayed due to COVID-19. The Connections fundraising concert is due to go ahead at the Otago Boys High School auditorium from 7 p.m. on August 2nd. In Dunedin, South Today. A next-generation telescope set to yield new insights about dark matter is due to be launched from New Zealand into the edge of space next year. The Super-Pressure Balloon-Borne Imaging Telescope, known as SuperBit, will be carried from the ground in Wanaka to 40 kilometres above sea level by a helium balloon. Scientists say it'll be carried by seasonally stable winds over a few months and will circumnavigate the Earth several times, covering 99.5% of the globe while taking images of the night sky. The International Space Research Project has a $7.1 million budget for the construction and operation of the first telescope. Those behind the SuperBit project say it'll cost about 1,000 times less than a similar satellite. An iconic bakery at Dunedin's Gardens shopping centre is closing its doors for the last time on Friday. Rob Barker started the Krusty Corner Bakery and Cafe over 30 years ago, but difficulties with the lease have forced him to close the business.
Rob Barker's Krusty Corner Cafe and Bakery is closing this coming Friday after nearly 36 years of serving loyal customers from his shop at Dunedin's Gardens intersection. He's been trying to sell the bakery, but difficulties concerning the lease agreement means no one's keen to try and take the business on.
Yeah, we're closing because the landlord won't give the lease a right of renewal. So if you try and sell it, everyone wants a right of renewal at the end, and he won't do that. So I've had a few people wanted to buy it, but they're sort of stuck. You know, there's no long lease.
Barker says he got the idea of starting his own business after working at a bakery called The Bread Bin on George Street in the mid-1980s. For the first 10 years, his bakery made hot bread, cream buns and donuts. But that slowed down after supermarkets began opening on weekends and late at night. He says business picked up again after he added a coffee machine and included breakfasts and BLTs to the menu.
Back in the days it was really busy, like crazy busy. There was nothing else around. It was probably this Krusty Corner and Governors, and that was about it.
Barker has a holiday house in Wanaka, and he spent some time there during last year's closure of eateries across the country due to COVID-19, a temporary shift of gears that did not harm his business at all.
No, that was the easiest bit, because after COVID we came back, it was busy. We got paid from the Jacinda for, you know, being in Wanaka on holiday, so that was good. Came back and it was busy till Christmas, but from Christmas till now, I think the whole town slowed down a bit, and you sort of have quiet days, busy days. It's not just the same as it used to be.
Krusty Corner's last day open is Friday, and Barker says he'll be in Wanaka by Saturday, although he does intend to come back and clear the premises later on. In Dunedin, the South Today.
And still to come on the South Today, a Dunedin rower sets off on a 1,000-kilometre trip for a good cause, and we head to Methven to see what is annoying locals and visitors alike. See you after the break.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Hi, it's Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We have a massive manufacturer's clearance plus. There's liquidated stock from our suppliers. For example, we have cotton casual trousers from 1990, dress trousers from 1990, merino zip pullovers, fashion shirts, warm winter shirts, jackets. There's a great deal on overcoats, blazers and suits. Come and check out our jeans. We're known for our jean selection.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Come in and see the massive manufacturer's clearance at Alex Campbell Menswear.
Be sure to tune in to Football Chat every week where we chat about local football fixtures, results and everything else that's happening in the local game.
TV, our favourite babysitter, but it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
No mai anō, welcome back. A Dunedin rower set off today on a 1,000-kilometre adventure to raise money for breast cancer research. University of Otago student Ben Mason had originally planned to row around the South Island, but safety concerns scuppered the idea. Instead, he's to row 10 hours a day for a month, travelling along the top half of the North Island's east coast. Mason's mother, Sonia, died from breast cancer when he was just 6 years old. His goal is to raise $20,000 for the New Zealand Breast Cancer Research Foundation. Residents in the growing ski resort of Methven, about 25 kilometres inland from Ashburton, are frustrated with their tap water. Over the last 10 years, there's been roughly one boil water notice a year, inconveniencing both locals and holidaymakers alike.
There are about 200 guests staying at Methven's Brinkley Resort. They're pretty happy today. Bluebird skies mean skiing and snowboarding on the slopes of Mount Hutt. But something's wrong at this resort. There's no fresh running water.
You have an expectation when you turn the tap on that, safe water is going to come out. So it's a major disruption for everybody.
Meet Paul Creswick. He's general manager here at Brinkley. Paul and his wife have had the embarrassing job of telling their 200 guests the water's unsafe. Instead, a 2,000-litre tank has been set up for guests to make the freezing morning trek to brush their teeth and fill bottles.
So you've just walked in from your day skiing up at Mount Hutt, or you've stumbled in from a session at the Blue Pub, and you're parched, so you go to get a glass. You go to fill it up with some delicious H2O. Except here, you can't drink this water. Now, you can still have a shower here, but when you're doing so, you've got to make sure you don't get any water going into your mouth. Once you get out of the shower, well, usually it'd be time to brush your teeth, but you can't do that here either. Let me show you where you can. Well, at the moment at Brinkley Resort, this is where you've got to come to brush your teeth. The council dropped this off recently. You just turn the tap, get some water, and away you go. So what's in the water here at Methven? Well, Ashburton District Council says recent bad weather means sediment-laden floodwater continues to infiltrate intake galleries. Paul Creswick and his fellow Methven residents and business owners have had enough. Mr Creswick says boil water notices have become relatively common during his 14 years here.
It's obviously embarrassing, you know. To be fair, all the guests, no one's really been too upset by it, but it is a major inconvenience. But not just for all the tourist operators in town. It's like there's mums and dads with kids at home. You know, it's very easy for children to forget to not touch the water. It's like we were saying before. I mean, you can jump in the shower and forget about it.
Methven is growing as a ski resort. Subdivisions are continuing to pop up around the town. Mr Creswick says it's time the infrastructure caught up.
I think the whole town's sort of had enough, really. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's sort of, in this day and age, you know, there is the expectation. You don't have to worry about what's coming out of the tap. It's been going on for years, for a long time. And, you know, the community just wants to know when it's going to get fixed, and a permanent fix.
And it's not just Brinkley Resort. This affects every business and household in town. Trev Denbars owns the Blue Pub, Brown Pub and the Backyard Craft Beer Bar in Methven with wife Deb. Right now, just washing a tray of pints is a real chore.
So as soon as we get a text from the council, it can be 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 in the morning, I shoot back down here and I turn everything off that's got filters or anything, so we don't contaminate anything within the system.
All water used in his establishments must be manually carted in 20-litre buckets from a tank out the back of the Blue Pub.
That's a lot of work and a lot of 20-litre buckets, and the younger guys hurt themselves this week, so it's been the old farts out there doing it. And it's tough going, and it's just a really big drain on human resources and so forth when it's school holidays, and they should be concentrating on actually serving and looking after the guests.
Ashburton District Council Chief Executive Hamish Riak did front heading a business meeting at Brinkley Resort. He's promising a permanent solution to Methven's decades-long water woes.
Council accepts that it's no longer acceptable to have the water supply that we've got in Methven. It's a very reliable supply, but when it rains heavily, it's subject to some sediment infiltration, and the turbidity gets too high, and then the treatment can't be guaranteed.
He says over the last decade or so there have been 9 boil water notices. As for that permanent fix, Mr Riak says it's coming, but not for another year to 18 months.
And after the break on The South Today, we see which southern town is increasing its green credentials, and we check out your weather across Te Waiponamu, also known as the South Island. See you after the break.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Hi, it's Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We have a massive manufacturer's clearance plus. There's liquidated stock from our suppliers. For example, we have cotton casual trousers from 1990, dress trousers from 1990, merino zip pullovers, fashion shirts, warm winter shirts, jackets. There's a great deal on overcoats, blazers and suits. Come and check out our jeans. We're known for our jean selection.
Alex Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Come in and see the massive manufacturer's clearance at Alex Campbell Menswear.
Inside are all sorts of innovations from all over China.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Coffee drinkers in Wanaka have been successful in taking a small but significant step to save the environment. 3 years ago, a campaign was launched to discourage people buying their coffee in single-use cups. It was suggested coffee drinkers bring their own reusable cup to be filled at local cafes. A recent survey now suggests almost 3/4 of takeaway coffee buyers are avoiding single-use cups. It's believed to have saved 1 million single-use cups from going into Wanaka's landfill each year. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. After nearly 6 months, the Dunedin City Council says East Otago tap water is now safe to drink. 2 Dunedin siblings have coordinated a fundraising concert for autism awareness in support of a specific type of therapy. And a North Dunedin eating institution is closing its doors at the end of the week as its creator couldn't find a buyer for the boutique bakery. Time now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's Otago Day Times. We welcome Mr. Craig Page.
Good
Craig.
How
you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks. Significant news for Milford Sound today. The government's had a working party looking at options for better managing the area, and this is kind of on the back of 2019 when they had something like 870,000 visitors in the area. They describe the tourism experience as crowded, rushed, noisy and unsafe. And when COVID hit, of course, last year, they decided that they didn't want to go back to that situation again, so putting measures in to try and prevent that. So a new proposal for the area is looking at requiring permits to access it, so that will limit the amount of traffic that can go in at any time. And then overseas visitors will also have to pay for their permits as well. Other recommendations are closing the Milford airstrip, so regulating air traffic in the area, and also banning cruise ships from the Sounds, which is quite a significant one, really.
That's pretty huge.
There is some concern that if they ban cruise ships from there, cruise ship companies may decide just not to come to the South Island at all now, so that could be a big loss for everyone. So getting a bit far down the track, given we haven't seen a cruise ship in quite some time, but they're all things to think about. So proposal at this stage, lots of discussion to go ahead, but certainly some big change in the way for the Milford Sounds. Lots of action at Stewart Island today as well. Health officials down there trying to vaccinate as many locals as possible over a 2-day period. I think they managed to get 170 of the almost 400 today, so the rest queued up. And there was a bit of a scare down there last month with a suspected case, which fortunately didn't eventuate to anything, but it kind of hit home to everyone how vulnerable they are down there, so good to see that they're all getting on board. Now there's nothing like takeaway food to get people excited. Word on the street, I think that's the phrase, is that Dunedin may be about to get a Taco Bell, which is of course a Mexican takeaway store, very big in the US and other places. There's a cryptic message on social media from the company today suggesting that they are eyeing Dunedin as their next store, so we'll have more on that tomorrow, but will be very exciting for some people, I'm sure. And of course with sport, the Olympics as well. Silver medal today for our rowers, Brooke Donoghue and Hannah Osborne, so that was pretty exciting. We've also got the men's sevens tonight, 9 o'clock, they're going for gold against Fiji, so we'll have an update on our website and plenty of coverage in there. And we also look ahead to the big rugby club final on Saturday as well. Dunedin and Tyree, my beloved Tyree side. 1978 was when Green Island last won the title, so we talked to Dick Bunton, who's well known around town. He was part of that Green Island winning side, so we had a bit of a chat about his memories of the day. Of course, it wouldn't take long to find somebody who remembers Tyree's last win, because it was last year, so hopefully they'll go back to back.
defending the title against Dunedin.
Exactly.
And you thought the Rugby Sevens was big news.
Oh, well, that's what it's about.
Cheers, Craig.
Thank you.
Time now for a look at the local weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the Southern View, potential hopefuls for New Zealand's next Olympic skateboard team in Yotkin today. Looking at the situation, a period of mild northwesterly airflow arrives tomorrow, bringing rain to western districts. At the northwest of the South Island, showers and 14 degrees for both Greymouth and Westport. Heading to the northeast, sunshine for this area with 16 degrees in Nelson and the same in Blenheim. Heading down to Canterbury, the sunshine is interrupted with a few clouds across this region with 14 degrees in Kaikoura, 12 in Christchurch and 13 for Ashburton. Heading to the southern towns, strong northwesterlies and rain later with 13 degrees for the Catlins and Balclutha, while it's due to be similar but with 12 degrees in Lumsden and Gore. Heading across to the Central Lakes area, gusty northwesterlies, cloudy skies and late rain for most areas with 12 degrees in Queenstown, Wanaka and Alexandra. Te Anau can expect to reach 11 and can also expect rain. Heading back up to the northern towns, on the coast you're due to have moderate northerlies, high cloud and 13 degrees for Oamaru and Timaru. It's a similar picture inland, but your northwesterlies are likely to be fresh. Twizel and Omarama both head for 13 degrees. In Dunedin, cloudy tonight with northerly winds and an overnight low of 7 degrees. Milder tomorrow with sunny periods and high cloud, with moderate to fresh northerly winds, a high of 14 and a low of 8. And the forecasters say it'll be similar on Friday in Otipoti, a high of 15 and a low of 8. And in Invercargill, some cloud with a mild overnight low of 8 degrees. Cloudy tomorrow with fresh gustily northerly winds, dry at first but rain develops during the afternoon, a high of 14 and a low of 9. Cloudy with showers on Friday as fresh cooler westerly winds progress, a high of 12 and a low of 8. And that's all from the South Today team for this Wednesday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odet.co.nz, follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Have a great evening. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.